everyone. Welcome to the Finance Story, a finance-focused career insight media platform where we help people in finance, understand and make better career decisions. So today we have with us Akshay, who's going to be talking to us about the merger of his firm. So let me just give you a little bit of a backdrop. There has been a lot of positive encouragement for Indian firms to grow locally as well as globally. Okay, big question is how. So one way for Indian firms to scale could be mergers. We don't see a merger happening very often, but recently three amazing young firms merged with Kirtane and Pandit, which is one of the largest and the most reputed CA firms in India. One of them is Purandare and Narwadkar, a 12-year-old firm started by Akshay and Kunal. Akshay, thank you so much for joining in. Thanks a lot.
Hi. It's my pleasure to be on this platform and to share whatever I could share about our experience of mergers and probably in terms of how we can prepare ourselves for the mergers and to grow our CA firms to be compatible with large size firms.
Yep.
So thank you, Amelia.
Thank you so much. So Akshay, the first question is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know you qualified in 2011 and as a CA fresher itself, you started the firm. So rewind back and tell us why did you start the firm and a little bit about your journey and background too.
Sure. So it goes back to the days when I applied for CA as a course. And I enrolled with ICAI for registration of entire CA course. Back then, it was a previous version like P1 and P2 versions of CA exams. And right after 12th standard, CA final classes used to start. So it goes back to that date when I enrolled for CA course. So when I enrolled for CA firm, I decided at that point of time only that I want to be in practice. Because whenever I heard about CA as a course, I got to know about what the power of simple signature makes into a attestation work by signing financials as a chartered accountant. So that kind of motivated me to be a chartered accountant, and I always wanted to be in practice. So after passing P1 and P2 exams, I decided to go with the articleship with a mid-sized firm, keeping in view that I wanted to be in practice so that I will be able to gain more and more knowledge and have kind of scope during my articleship, which I can have a base for my CA practice. So I decided to go with statutory audit as my main focus area during my articleship only, even though I was selected for a different department during my articleship and my articleship interview. But I said I want to be in statutory audit, and if you're considering me as an article student, consider me for statutory audit only. So it is back then the fate was sealed. I wanted to be in statutory audit, and after completing my articleship and CA course, I'm not a first attempt chartered accountant, but I'm successful chartered accountant, as I can say. So after completing CA course and articleship, I decided to enroll my firm along with my membership form only. So both my membership form date and enrollment of my CA firm as a proprietorship was the same dates. So right after I started my own practice, but it was more of a kind of having experience what a CA practice could be. So I never had a background of family where professional firms are there. So I had to start from scratch, and kind of I started working with mid-size and large size firms on assignment basis, started to have my feeling of developing small clients, having small work, like it starts from basic IT return filing, accounts outsourcing work, or doing some assignment work for CA firms, like even small assignments like working on a particular bonus payout working. So such small assignments started my practice. And I always had this feeling that I cannot grow my practice to multifolds on my own. So I always wanted to have a partner. And in 2015, I converted my proprietorship to a partnership firm. So that is how it became Purandare and Narwadkar as a partnership firm in 2015. And when my partner joined Kunal, we actually started developing more niche areas of practice. So from then onwards, we started developing and focusing on certain areas of practice where we both as individuals wanted to have a specialization, and we as a firm, we wanted certain recognition that this firm is known for certain kind of work, certain kind of deliverables, certain kind of standards. So that is how that entire journey started.
Amazing, amazing. Akshay, how did you meet Kunal? I know you all did your articles together, but what was the process of convincing him, or did he also want to start his own and it eventually happened? How did it happen?
Okay, so I'm quite senior to Kunal. So actually, I interviewed his articleship CV, and we worked together on some of the engagements. So when I asked him that, are you open to join me and start our own firm and start giving services which we want to give as a firm? So he was immediately okay with it, and immediately he jumped onto the opportunities. We decided how we want to proceed, how we want to grow, what we want to do over next 5-10 years, and how we want to scale up over next 5-10 years. That is how it started. And when we decided to have our own firm as a Purandara and Narwadkar, we actually prepared a plan for next 5 years, where we prepared details like how many clients we will be having year on year, what kind of service lines we will be adding over next few years, what kind of employee strength we will be having over next few years, what kind of office infrastructure we will be having over next few years. So that is how we detailed working. We started developing our practice, and fortunately, if we still have those papers where we jotted down those individual points, we could, if we could see that that we have achieved almost all the parameters we wanted to achieve, because that is how our vision of the firm as a Purandare and Narwadkar chartered accountants was kind of factored in at the inception level, where along with us two partners, other employees, articles, and even in between we had one more partner. So we could achieve on the things which we have decided at the inception.
Wow, that's excellent. So, Akshay, did a merger was included in your plan? Did you all ever think that, we would merge with a larger firm? Was that a part of the plan or it happened?
So basically, that was not part of the initial discussions or initial plan when we prepared our 5 year vision or 10 year vision plan. But yes, when we were working, we had so many offers from mid-sized firms and large-sized firms that why don't you merge with us? But we had decided that it is not the right time when we merge. The time will be right when we achieve certain goals which we had determined at the start of starting this firm. So going back to last financial year, we could achieve those things which we wanted to achieve as a firm together. And when that landmark was achieved, we actually sat together and said, even I still remember somewhere in the month of last August when we finalized our financial statements and filed our IT returns. We sat together and we said that now is the time when we take the offers of mergers very seriously. So that is, I think that was the starting point when this entire process got started, because we were ready to have this merger process with our firm.
Amazing. So can you tell us, like I know you reached certain, you had a certain goal, right? You and Kunal
Right.
together, and then which firms were approaching you all were considering them. But prior to that, that was not even a point of discussion, right? So
Correct.
can you tell us how did Kirtane and Pandit happen? And how did the discussion go? When did it start? And how long does this entire process take? And when we say mergers, like, does the partners get paid out or it just merged together? And what goes into it?
Okay. So there are different perspectives to it. Different deals maybe go differently. Different firms may go differently. There is no set parameters. As I said, merger is kind of a new thing in CA firms. ICAI has issued their rules and regulations regarding mergers and demergers of CA firms, because as such in the partnership act or even LLP act, mergers and acquisition has not been defined. So ICI had to come into picture and enable CA firms to be there in terms of global scenario, how they could compete with this global scenario. They had issued different mergers and acquisitions, not acquisition, mergers and demerger guidelines for CA firms. Coming back, how it happened with us, I think ICI had conducted a major event in November 22, World Congress of Accountants. So it happened in India for the very first time. So a lot of networking happened at World Congress of Accountants. and we met some senior partners of Kirtane and Pandit at World Congress of Accountants. And we both did our articleship from Kirtane and Pandit. So we had this kind of relationship with the partners or management of Kirtane and Pandit. And when that discussion started, we knew this is the firm we would like to go ahead with. Because honestly, we had other offers also which were there before Kirtane Pandit offer came in. So we had few discussions with those firms, and we had kind of a brief idea how this discussion goes. And the last offer which came to us was Kirtan and Pandit, which we took finally. When that thing happened, we actually had made up our mind that this is the firm where we would like to merge, because in terms of ethics, in terms of work culture, we were already aligned to them because we did our articleship from that firm. So it started from World Congress of Accountant, where we met. Actually, I know a lot of people grabbed this opportunity of networking on the platform of World Congress of Accountant. I know a lot of people had a lot of synergies developed within CA firms, within two different CA firms when they met at World Congress of Accountants. So that was quite an event which ICAI had organized very successfully at global level. So that is how it started for us. And again, how much time it takes, it depends. I would say for merger of CA firm, it will take entire cycle of closing your billings and delivering your services and converting it into cash. So it takes a lot of time. It's not a easy process where when you decide to merge with any firm and you close it within a month, it's not like that. There are a lot of factors: your clients, your employees, your partners, other firms' partners, how they are open for this merger thing. So it's a very lengthy process, I would say. I cannot say that it's a 3 month, 1 month, or 6 months time period. Depends, but it's a very lengthy process.
It's very lengthy and a very time-consuming process. Yes. So Akshay, you mentioned that you had a discussion with a lot of others who were approaching you for a merger, and you knew how the discussion flows. So how the discussion flows? What was different with this discussion and the other discussions that you had? Okay, and apart from the integrity part, and you knew the team at Kirtane Pandit, what else did you say? Hey, what, this ticks mark? What was your list?
Okay, there was no list as such, so we kind of went with the flow of discussions which we had with few other firms also. What we could understand in terms of standing in the profession, I would say we have achieved some good things which other firms acknowledge that we know you. So that was the big recommendation or big acknowledgement of our work, which we got during the discussions of merger with other firms also. So I would say that is very critical point when you get that acknowledgement from large CA firms that, hey, you are doing good. So that sort of word makes a lot of difference. So when we had discussions with other firm, it was more about financial discussions. What could be the financial terms? What could be the compensations? What could be the employees? What they would be getting out of it. So it was more of a financial terms with what we had discussed, but or kind of specialization services which we will continue after merger. But with Kirtane and Pandit, it was more of a kind of what we will do together as merging firms or merged firms. So actually that made us think that this is the firm which is thinking beyond financial numbers. And honestly, those things come first about having synergies with the merger, and financial terms could be kind of last thing which you will think about going into merger.
So there's no cash payout or something in it, because we're in the world of startups. Everybody's investing, buying, selling. Everyone wants to make a quick buck, right? So in this, there's no money per se involved in a big way.
As I said, for CA practice, it's more of a professional growth rather than encashing what you have achieved. So when I said we decided to go with merger, it was more of having different services which we can give to our existing clients, or different kind of geographical presence which we can have to give our potential clients. So that was more important thing rather than having a financial encashment, which generally startups or even kind of large companies are looking into market. But for CA firms, it is more of a professional enrichment, I would say.
Akshay, like, would you want to, you also mentioned that, you prepared yourself for the merger. So there are so many other small CA firms, young folks who are starting their own, now they're all going to start thinking like, hey, how could I merge, or how could I be acquired? Okay. So what should they prepare themselves? I know it's clients and I know it's a lot of other factors, but if you could be specific and in depth, so it could be like a roadmap for them.
Okay. So for a CA firm to be prepared for a merger is very important. There are a lot of things which are being done differently by large firms compared to small firms. Like having your own HR is a very important factor. Having your own HR policies, having your own documented policies is very important when you are going into merger. Like there could be employees who are working with you over last 10, 15 years. So you don't know what is their leave balances, what are their gratuities to be paid off. When you are operating as a small firm, these things come at a very later stages when you start thinking about it. But when you are thinking about merging with CA firms, you need to be prepared on those parameters as well, because when the discussion starts, when someone asks you what is your leave liabilities, what is your gratuity liabilities when you are merging your employees with us, and you don't know that number, then it becomes very difficult. That the firm which you are dealing with, they may think that hey, this firm is not having proper policies within their organization. Their employees are not used to have policies. That is also very critical. So when we say that firm needs to be prepared, I think if you start networking with partners or managers of these large CA firms, you will be able to understand what things are being done differently by these large firms and which you are not doing as a small or medium-sized practitioner, like keeping your books of accounts on accrual basis as against keeping your books of accounts on receipts and payment basis. Those could be the difference between the two firms when you are merging. So there will be small parameters where there could be differences, but you need to have your own assessment how these differences could be aligned with the big firms when you are going into merger. So having your books of accounts, having your MIs prepared on monthly basis. Small and medium-sized firms may not be maintaining their MIs, maintaining or preparing your budget for next financial year, preparing your commitments, having your revenues mapped with your employees, like how much revenues you are generating per employee, how much contribution you are adding to your firm per partner, what are the contributions to the firm of your particular service line. Like for example, what is the contribution you are adding as a statutory audit partner, what is the contribution you are adding as a indirect tax partner. So those MIS, those ratios, those numbers are very critical when you are going into merger. So you need to have those numbers ready with you. You need to have those systems. You need to have those policies ready within your organization and keep yourself ready for any opportunities which comes to you as a part of merging with large or medium-sized firms.
Okay. Did you ever consider, being a part of an, say, international network? Was that ever a choice or an option that you all had discussed? I mean, you and Kunal?
International network, you mean big firms?
Yeah, big firm. Yeah.
Yes, so we always had this discussion about what if we get opportunity to work with international brands. So we were open for that. But what happens is, in our case, it was very easy for us as well as for Kirtane and Pandit to merge and gel together, because we both had a kind of understanding of how things work within the organization. We knew partners of Kirtane and Pandit, they knew us. So it was more of a matchmaking made in heaven. But if you haven't worked with large firms previously, it may not be a possible opportunity for you. Generally, what happens is big firms will prefer to have partners who have worked with big firms or big six firms.
Okay. Okay. So, Akshay, can you tell me how was it, communicating this fact to your team members? Because I understand you guys had, a perfect culture fit, you and your partner. But what about the team members? How did they react, and what were the factors that you took into consideration?
Actually, it's very difficult to talk to your employees about this merger, because today we are called one firm and from tomorrow we will be called different firm. We will be reporting to different managers. We will be reporting to different partners. We may be handling different clients which I'm not currently used to handle. So there are a lot of difficulties when it comes to your manpower or your human resources. But fortunately, we were able to have this person independent processes within our organization that even for clients, we made them easy because clients were also aware that this is not a person dependent service which we are getting. Today we are getting this particular review by some person. Tomorrow we may be having this reviewed by some other person. But they were okay because processes were not changed. Handholding was always there, that I may not be asking the same question year on year again to the same client, or the different person comes in, he or she may not be asking the same question to client. So we made it kind of a person independent processes. And when we actually informed to our employees, they were excited to work with Kirtane and Pandit, because all along they have heard about Kirtane and Pandit from us, as we used to tell them during our leisure time about our articleship stories. We used to share our stories with them. So they were already aware, and they were already kind of brief background within their mindset that this is the kind of firm which works on this kind of ethics, this kind of policies. So they had a brief background about Kirtane and Pandit with them. But what we did is we made it a celebration, and we actually told them that this is happening because of you, because of the kind of commitments you offered us. We were able to deliver good services to our clients, and that is how the firm name is established in the market as Purandar and Narwadkar. And this is the same philosophies which are there in Kirtane and Pandit, and we will be there together as a firm. It's not like today we are there and tomorrow some different person will be there. So it's a kind of a merger where, along with partners, our clients, our employees, our infrastructure entirely getting merged into this firm.
And how is it for you and Kunal? Like for the last 12 years, you'll introduced yourselves with your firm's name, right? And now I know though you're super excited, it's a new firm. So was that a little nostalgic? Like how was it?
Actually, we never thought when we were planning for our firm that one day we will be known as a different firm. But going up and going into client places and presenting our profile to them as a Kirtane and Pandit, it actually gives us a sense of pride that where we started our journey as a chartered accountant or budding chartered accountants during our articleship, and we are actually presenting our profile as a partner of this firm. It actually gives us a sense of pride, and a lot of clients actually come back to us, and they are actually congratulating us that when you started your own practice, we never thought that will become that big. Of course, you were giving good services, we were happy with you, but when you are presenting your brand as Kirtane and Pandit with the same fashion or same passion, we are actually happy that we will be getting brand name of Kirtane and Pandit and you as a delivering partner or service partner to us.
Wow. It actually came full circle for you guys. Akshay, thank you so much for the time, and it was very knowledgeable. You answered every question. Thank you. Thank you so much, Akshay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.